welcome to the Cash Show, the trivia show that's coming directly to your mobile phone. We're excited to have you here once again. It is Saturday. England just beat Nigeria. That's basically the news of the day in the football world. We're going to do some shout out. These people tweeted me directly at Antoine Speaker, so if you want to tweet me, feel free to go ahead. So big shout out to Owen Thompson, who wants to give a shout out to his sister Gemma and says thanks for lending him some money. That is so nice of you. You're a very nice sister. Jigglypuff wants to do a shout out to Lucy, who plays the show with her dad. Nice father and daughter moment. That's very nice of you. Who do you play with? Let me know in the comment section. Shout out to Ryan, who's a really nice, who is also an MMA writer. Ryan Real Nice, who's also an MMA writer. So check them out on Twitter as well. Big shout out to everyone on Facebook who checked us out today. So Alana Nicole has joined us while she's eating some ice cream. And the last shout out goes to Kate Freeman. And Gary Gibson says Laura Exley is a best girlfriend ever. So well done, Laura. Gary, quickly, who's very lucky today. The shout out is going to go to Maddie. Shout out to you, Maddie. So, those of you who are joining us for the first time, obviously it's the cash show. It's what we do. You answer some questions and you win some cash if you get further into the game. If you're on the Facebook, there was a question I put up earlier today. That question was, who is the most successful British Olympian of all time? The answer was Jason Kenny and Chris Hoy. I know most of you thought it was just Chris Hoy, but basically between the both of them, they've both won 6 golds and 11 silvers each in cycling events. So both of them are the best Olympians ever for Britain. But that was a very simple question. There's only 2 options. But in the game, you can get 4 options and you're going to play for some cash when you get through to those later rounds. So I'm Antoine Allen. Thanks for joining us. I know you're ready. I know you're raring to go. So our first question is, what might you add to something to make it taste sweet? Salt, Tabasco sauce, sugar. So if you just didn't have any taste buds, then maybe you might add some salt. If you wanted something to taste disgusting, then you might add some Tabasco sauce. I don't like Tabasco sauce. Then that only really leaves one logical answer. If you're in the West Indies, you'd actually use some sugar cane, obviously. So the answer is sugar. Yes, correct answer is sugar. Sugar is a generic name for sweet-tasting, soluble carbohydrates, many of which are used in food. So, like I said, in the West Indies, we like to use sugar cane, or you can even use honey, which is kind of a type of sugar. With that said, we're going to move on to our next question. So, question number 2 is, how else can you call a belly button? Knee, navel, nipple. So, those of you who aren't like just having a fun game, you know it's not a knee. Come on, it's not a knee. And it's definitely not a nipple, so that only really leaves one logical answer. Of course, the answer is navel. Yes, the navel is a hollowed and sometimes raised area of the abdomen, which is just about there. All of you know what it is. It's the belly button. Some people get really like in pain if you touch them in their belly button. One of my friends is afraid that her spleen will just explode. So yeah, if you want to just tease someone, poke them in their belly button. With that said, let's move on to our next question. What does Paddington Bear often keep under his hat? Cheese sandwich, marmite sandwich, marmalade sandwich. So, those of you that have been watching the film world recently, i.e. the cinema, you know that the Paddington Bear film was actually really big and people really enjoyed it. I know some of you knew Paddington when you were young, but a new generation has been introduced to it, and they know now that he has a marmalade sandwich underneath his hat. Yes, see, a lot of you knew the answer to that one. Yes, the correct answer is marmalade sandwich. Paddington is famous for his love of marmalade, and he's particularly fond of it in marmalade sandwiches. I can't stand marmalade, but we're going to move on to our next question. So, question 4 is, where are the members of the avant-garde band Sigur Rós from? Norway, Canada, Iceland. So those of you who are big into music may know which this band is. Obviously, I even struggled to say their names. I'd never heard of them before. I did a little Google search, and they started in 1994, and they come from Iceland. Yes, so the correct answer was Iceland. The band have been active since 1994 and known for their ethereal sound and their frontman, Josie's check them out. So we're going to move on to our next question. So Hawaii is a US state located in which ocean? The Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Indian Ocean. So this is a fun fact. There's actually a video which explains how Hawaii became a US state. It's because a businessman tricked the Queen of Hawaii, which isn't a nice story at all. But Hawaii is actually situated in the Pacific Ocean. So those of you who knew the answer to that one got that one correct. Well done. So the correct answer is Pacific Ocean. Hawaii is a US state, is an isolated volcanic archetypal central in the Pacific state, and the island is well known for its rugged landscapes, cliffs, waterfalls, and tropical foliage. Obviously, you get the little reef around you when you go there as well, which is pretty cool. So with that said, we're going to move on to our next question, which is a prize one. So we'll be back in a second. So our first prize question is, which of the following religions is currently polytheistic? Judaism, Shinto, Islam. So the answer to this one is basically in the last word. If you don't know what polytheistic means, it means when a religion has more than one deity. That would mean the answer is Shinto. Yes, the correct answer is Shinto. It's a traditional religion of Japan that focuses on ritual carried out with diligence. There's different types of deities, like there's deity for man, deity for women, deity for war. So it's kind of similar to Greek mythology, but it's obviously very Japanese. With that said, we're going to move on to our next question. John Jarratt, who played the serial killer in The Wolf Creek, was host of which 90s TV program? Better Homes and Gardens, Total Wild, Australian Wildlife. So if you're a big fan of Wolf Creek or 90s TV programs, you might know the answer to this one. It's quite a hard question, but we are into the prize round. So the correct answer is Better Homes and Gardens. I can see that at least 1,000 of you made the right choice, so well done. So the correct answer is Better Homes and Gardens. It's an Australian television program which is broadcast on the 7 Network. So if you're in Australia playing the game, then you might have got that one right. With that said, we're going to move on to our next question. What is the English term for the fear of Halloween? Calanophobia, Guisophobia, Samhainophobia. So those of you that kind of try and cheat and try to type them into Google would know that the first two don't even exist. They're not even real words. So there only really leaves one correct answer, and the correct answer is Samophobia. So the Samophobia is the morbid fear of Halloween. The origin of the term traces back to the Celtic Samhain, meaning Hallows Eve to Christians through Samhain predates the introduction of Christianity. So some people don't celebrate Halloween because they think it's evil. I know a lot of people do. So let me know in the comment section which you do. Do you do it or not do it? With that said, let's move on to our next question. Genghis Khan passed away at the beginning of which century? The 11th, the 12th, or the 13th? So, quick fun fact, Genghis Khan isn't actually his real name. He was originally called Temujin, and then when he became the leader of the Mongols, they named him Genghis Khan. So the correct answer for us, though, is the 13th century. Yes, the correct answer, the 13th century. Genghis Khan died in August 1227 during the fall of the Yuchin, which is the capital of Western Asia. The exact cause of his death remains a mystery, but he was a violent man, so maybe he died in a violent way. But we're going to move on to our next question. The Chinese novel Gold Lotus was banned for centuries due to which sensitive content? Sexual, child abuse, or demifactory to emperors? I completely messed that one up. I really apologise for that one. So those of you who don't know that Gold Lotus actually means Jing Pei Ming in China, and it was banned because of sexual content. It's actually been stated as being one of the first manuscripts / in-depth books to be released. It was actually pinnacle in the literary world. So those of you who know now that it actually was banned originally for sexual content, but now you can read it if you really want to. But we're going to move on to our next question. Which of these towns is not serviced by India's national highway on 139? Aghabad, Obra, Mandi. So this is a super tough question, guys. This is a savage question, as you like to say. Just why would you know this? Obviously, you need to use a wrong on all of life, and if you did use that, or you just knew, then you know the correct answer is Mandi. Yes, the correct answer is Mandi. The national highway of 139 runs through Bihar and Jharkhand states of India. Mandi is the Himachal Pradesh state. So we're through to our last. Stick with us. I know I messed up one of the questions, but I'm sure you still got the question correct. But here we go. Last question, guys and girls. Starship Traveller is the fourth book in the fighting fantasy series published by Puffin Books, but which came 21st. Demons of the Deep, Robot Commando, Trial of Champions. So, what is a fighting fantasy? Basically, they're gameplay books where, when you're reading them, you can choose how the story progresses by choosing different options. The correct answer for us is Trial of Champions. Yes, the correct answer is Trial of Champions. The book was written solely by Ian Livingstone and contains. So, it's a really fun book if you want to just have something that doesn't go in a linear like a normal book. So, we're through to the lucky spin now. So, if you haven't won, make sure you're sticking with us. We have the lucky spin coming up where you can see what you can win. You're definitely going to win something. But we're going to give a big shout out to everyone that made it all the way to the last round. I can see 470 made it to the end. Well done, because these were some really tough questions. And those of you that didn't make it, hopefully you had a fun time. My one mistake didn't mess up the game for you, but I know that most of you are very good at the quizzes and you also read along at the same time. But we're going to do our lucky spin now, so make sure you stick around so you can win yourself maybe an extra life or a wrong gone or one of our other prizes. So let's do some shout outs first to our lucky winners. All of you have won £1.78. So Charmander Boy, Moon, Y with a question mark, Abini, Silla, and I'll look down here. Nathan Fix, and one more. I'm going to choose